Okay, here's a wild idea. What if I told you that a single bite of food, just one bite, could completely revolutionize an entire company? I'm talking about cutting down on errors, building way more trust, and unlocking a whole new level of performance. I know, it sounds kind of impossible, right? But that's the core idea behind this corporate education program from TempoSense. So let's dig in and see how on earth this works.
To really get this, we've got to start with the most dramatic example: the total transformation of how an ordinary employee perceives the world. So you take a bite of food. What's your first reaction? For most of us, it's something super simple, super direct. It's good. I like it. Or just, it's delicious. A basic, almost automatic response. Now, check this out. On the left, you've got that simple reaction we just talked about. But on the right, that's the result after just 15 hours of training. From one single piece of gimbap, that's a Korean rice roll, an employee is suddenly able to write a 2-page sensory analysis, detailing the aroma, the sweetness, the aftertaste, everything. How is that possible? How do you go from just delicious to a detailed professional evaluation? Well, the answer is all in the science behind the training. And let me be clear, this is not about becoming a food snob. It's about completely rewiring how we make judgments. At its heart, this is what's called taste intelligence education. The source material explains it as a kind of cognitive training. The goal isn't to teach you recipes or anything like that. It's to enhance your core ability to judge, to perceive, and to decide. And it just uses taste as the training ground. And this slide right here brilliantly illustrates the core mechanism. It all starts with sense, the raw data coming from your tongue. Then you learn to apply focused attention to that data. That process sharpens your judgment. With enough practice, making precise judgments becomes a habit. And what are good, consistent habits? They're the absolute foundation of high performance. It's a straight line from sensing more clearly to performing more effectively. So, here's the really crucial point. The whole program completely redefines what a gourmet even is. It's not about someone with subjective, fancy preferences. No, it's a professional sensory evaluator, someone who can objectively analyze quality and structure. It's a skill, not just a hobby. So how does this one individual skill scale up to become a massive advantage for a whole company? Well, the impact goes from the single person to the entire organization. You see, the core benefit for a business is that it increases its sensory resolution. Think about it like upgrading a camera from standard definition all the way up to 8K. All of a sudden, the entire organization can see details, notice problems, and spot opportunities that were completely invisible before. And what does that higher resolution actually lead to? The impacts are pretty profound. Problems get recognized way faster. Costly judgment errors go way down. It actually creates a culture where people self-inspect their own work with a lot more precision. And that, in turn, naturally reduces conflict, builds organizational trust, and ultimately elevates the company's entire brand. And this table here, it makes the transformation crystal clear. Just look at the shift. Feedback goes from something vague, like "I don't like it," to a precise, structured analysis. Problem solving becomes proactive instead of reactive, and decision-making is no longer just based on old data, but on real-time, nuanced insight. This is a fundamental upgrade to a company's entire operating system. But hold on, this isn't just a one-off training course. Now we get to the technology layer, and this is where it really becomes a lifelong asset. Remember that intensive 15-hour course that lets someone write a 2-page analysis? Yeah, that's just the starting line. That's because the education is seamlessly integrated with an AI system. Every single time an employee expresses a sensory opinion, the AI is there analyzing it. It builds a unique personal taste profile that actually evolves over time, tracking what they call your taste level through this really detailed developmental framework. This turns a training program into a cognitive asset that just keeps growing with you for your entire career. And don't get me wrong, this AI is seriously powerful. We're talking about an engine that's built on over 10,000 analytical questions. It's a deeply scientific, data-driven approach to mapping and developing human perception. So finally, let's zoom all the way out and see how this corporate training piece fits into a much, much larger ecosystem. So it turns out the program we've been talking about, corporate education, is actually just business number 6 out of 10 distinct but totally interconnected ventures. And these 10 businesses, they all work together to create something much bigger, a complete taste intelligence platform. Now, what's really brilliant here is the flow. It starts with creating taste experiences, things like tours and entertainment. This then builds a shared taste language through education and media. That language generates a ton of taste data, which gets analyzed by the core AI, and then that AI powers an entire taste industry, creating products and driving global expansion. You see how that works? Each part just feeds right into the next. It's a completely self-reinforcing loop. And the potential scale here is just enormous. The source material positions taste intelligence not just as some niche training tool, but as a brand new global industry, with the potential to be as widespread and as impactful as yoga or meditation.
And this isn't just some flash-in-the-pan idea. The entire system is built on this deep foundation of research, and it's backed by 17 foundational books, covering everything from evaluation theory and sensory design to perceptual development. This is a serious, long-term project.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. In an age where we're all obsessed with big data and analytics, what if the most important data for your business isn't actually found on a spreadsheet, but on your tongue? What if sharpening your team's senses is the ultimate competitive advantage? It's a pretty fascinating question to consider.